good win. Winning's always good, always fun. Um, it's that's a tough place to play down there in the hole at Hell Stadium. But was really pleased, obviously, with the outcome of the game. A lot of stuff that we've got to correct. Did not tackle very well defensively. Got to clean that up. Still got to do a better job sustaining some drives, especially some situational drives offensively. Got to do a better job of just running our offense. I think right now we're taking too many shots down the field. Is kind of evident in Rice's numbers. I think he was 54%, something like that. In the past, he's been up there around 70% mark. So got to improve on that. But and then in the special teams in the kicking game, we've just got to become a factor in the kicking game. We've got to create a spark and got to win that area in the game. But obviously, with all that being said, to still be able to come out with a win, I'm very encouraged, very pleased with that, because it's a whole lot easier making corrections when you're doing it after a win. Did that, and now on to EKU. Obviously, what we call a state championship game around here. They're the only team in our state that's in our league right there. So obviously, that's a big deal for us. We got a lot of things going on. Homecoming's always a cool event. Starting probably about tomorrow, they'll start putting all the tents up in the stadium while we're at practice, and very cool experience, especially for some of our guys, some of our freshmen or new guys who haven't experienced that yet before. Very cool experience for fans as well. So it ought to be a really cool day Saturday. I'm going to do some things this week. Trying to, we kind of set a record since during family weekend. We had a record that we had set since the 90s or whatever, and we want to set a record, period, this week. So I'm try to challenge and encourage and beg students to come and create just a really difficult atmosphere to play in, a really fun atmosphere to play in. So we're going to do some things like that this week to just continue to add to that atmosphere that we have during game week. So ought to be a lot of fun, for the fans. But obviously we've got a big task ahead of us, got a job to do. So that's where our focus is right now.
You talk about the last couple of weeks some of that accountability. Toward the end of the TSU game, Scotty Humping gets an unsportsmanlike penalty, and the first people to get on to him are the rest of the team. Really frustrated that maybe that fourth down becomes a first down for TSU. I mean, is that something as a coach you'd like to see? The other players kind of getting on Scotty, like, hey man, we got to calm down and get out of here and get this win.
Yeah, I don't like to see it from a standpoint of I don't like the initial action. Take that away, man, especially in that situation. Got a chance to get off field, or a better chance to get off field right there, and don't do it because we're not throwing our hands back. I don't like the behavior in the first place, right? We've got to put our ego in our pocket in those situations, unsportsmanlike. Again, I can handle speed penalties. I can handle face mask every once in a while because you're running to the ball. Man, you just got to get your hands lower, right? Even sometimes maybe a bang hit out of bounds play, right? It's tough. The block punter, the hit on the punter when we're trying to block it, and all those things. I'm never going to coach cautiously. I'm never going to have those kids out there playing cautiously. So we just hustle penalties. They're okay. They're not wanted, but man, we can live with them, right? Non-hustle penalties, unsportsmanlike, procedural penalties, some of those things cannot happen. Because there's no hustle involved, there's no effort involved. It's just you're hurting the team. On the flip side of that, I text the boys, I text the staff because I wasn't on the bus after the game. I texted the staff and told them, I said, hey man, it's probably one of the best team wins we've had around here in a long time, maybe since I've been here, as far as every position making plays for the team, everybody that was not playing being engaged and involved in what was going on, position by position. Listening to the running backs encourage CT when he's out there running the ball, because, man, he did a phenomenal job. Listening to the D linemen that aren't in, encourage and love on the D linemen that are in. Listening to the quarterbacks, love and encourage Preston as he's out there. Wideouts, O-line, which, phenomenal job O-line. We have two key players that were not able to play this past week, and Chris George was out with a concussion, and Dallas Danner's out with a knee injury, and so we had to do a lot of shifting around. Mitch Ponder gets his first start at center, and you rush for over 200 yards, and just those type things, and seeing kind of the other guys cheer those guys on and encourage those guys. We haven't had that a lot, and we're getting better at that.
Going into the Tennessee State game, was there one thing you thought you had to do in order to win that game?
Be physical. There's always 5 things that we feel like we need to do in every game, and it starts with turnovers, and we were able to win that. Obviously, anytime you can create 5 turnovers, you got a big-time chance to win, especially when you only give up 1 compared to those 5. So that was a huge deal. Third downs, we're atrocious. We were atrocious third down-wise, and we've got to improve in that area. Red zone, we were good. Offensively, we got down in the red zone twice, was able to score both times, scored touchdowns both times. The other thing going into the game, when you get 5 turnovers and only 17 points off of them, that's not very good offensively, so we've got to be better at that. Again, special team, we call them racer ball. I felt like going into the game, and I think I said it to you, Neil, I think I said that the special teams was going to be a big factor. I think it was from a standpoint of we never broke serve, so to speak. That Chris Rowlands is about as dynamic as they come. We were able to hold him on punt return with our punt coverage, and in the kicking game. Never killed us, but we've got to start making plays on special teams. We've got to start being dynamic on special teams, some things like that. But the biggest overarching thing was we made a lot of plays. Our 5th thing that we look for in games going into every game is, did we make plays? And we did that. Looking on the tape, we made a lot of plays. Now we still left a lot of low-hanging fruit out there. 4th down conversion hits us in the chest and we drop it, some things like that. But overall, I thought we made a lot of plays. So going into each week, the things that we have to do to win are always the same. It's the same 5 things. It's the same 5 truths, and it's turnovers, third downs, red zones, special team plays, and big plays. Those will never change.
EKU last year fought 2 good teams, and Roy State just hammered them. From then on, though, that was kind of their wake-up call. They played well down the stretch. They've been pretty good ever since. Tell us about the team that will come in here Saturday.
It's a dang good football team. They're playing really good ball. You look at them just conference-wise right there. They play Tennessee State and put it on Tennessee State pretty good. And then played UT Martin, and I'll be honest with you, I was kind of I was under the understanding that UT Martin beat them pretty soundly in that game. And when you watch the game, they led for the majority of that game. UT Martin had to come back and win, and they were able to do that. Had some big plays that they put together to do that. Punt return for a touchdown and caused a fumble, some things like that. So this is a really, really good football team. I tell you, the thing that I'm the most impressed with is from a recruiting standpoint. This would be the best looking football team you see when they walk into the stadium. They have phenomenal length at every position, especially in their skill positions. Their front 4 defensively are very good. Their front 5 offensively are very big, very athletic. from a length standpoint and team speed standpoint, they are really, really good. Special teams wise, they play phenomenally hard. I think that's where Coach Elder probably has his hands the most. I don't know that for a fact, but just knowing his background and watching the way they play, I think that he has his hands in that Kool-Aid jar, so to speak, and it shows up on tape. So this is a really, really good football team that we've got coming in this week.
Coach Coleman talked a little bit about it. The team rallying around Preston. How is that? How is that being handled? How are you guys working through that? Knowing that Preston is dealing with external factors.
Just daily. There's no script for that. Just trying to be. I don't know what the word is, trying to be as considerate as we can to him and his family and what they need, while also being considerate to the team and what we need. And there's lines to both, and there's things that both sides need and all of that. He and his family have been phenomenal, have been extremely tough, faithful. There's 1,000 words that you could use for it. It helps. He comes from a football family. It means a lot to them. Football means a lot to them. His daddy, I went to the hospital after the game because his brother had an episode during the game and all of that kind of stuff, and we had to rush Preston to the hospital after the game. I had a chance to see his dad, and immediately his dad starts talking football with me. He comes out of the door and he goes, "Man, Coach, I thought our defense played really well tonight." And I kind of laugh and tried to shrug it off as like, "Hey, man, we don't have to do this." And the family's looking at me almost like giving me a face of, "Hey, talk ball with him. He needs this." And that's kind of been Preston's outlet. We talk about that a bunch. Within the team, everybody has things that's going on in their life. I have things that's going on in my life, and football is not supposed to add to the anxiety of that. It's supposed to give you a relief from that. It's supposed to be a 3-hour window, 4-hour window where you don't have to think about those things. And a lot of times that's very hard to do. I think in this case, Preston and his family have, he's used that time, that practice time, as he says, to be with the boys. He's used that as his relief and his release to that situation, and to get away from it for just a little bit and focus on something that's fun, that brings him joy. And I think his dad has been instrumental in that, and making sure that Preston understands that that's okay to do, right? You don't have to feel bad about that. And we're just trying to manage, making sure that it continues to be that way and it doesn't become something that's extra stressful on him and all of that. And I think that he's done a phenomenal job managing that. I think Coach Coleman has done a really nice job managing that situation, making sure that the other two in that room are ready to go if needed. And again, I think that the team has done a nice job. And we talk a lot about, we put pictures up of geese flying in V's and why that's so important, and we run in a V after practice. It's kind of a goofy thing, but all of that stuff matters, man. And there's power in that. There's power in team, and again, we talked about it Saturday. I thought that showed up during the game on Saturday. It was just a bunch of guys playing with one another and for one another. And Preston obviously is a part of that group. So obviously that's really, really encouraging, because we're going to need it now. These next couple of games that we're about to play, we've still got 3 weeks until we get a non-game week. So we need it. We need everybody to be all in with one another and for one another.